I don't know what's going on.
Am I in the Wolworthing meeting? You have any?
Yeah, you have a Supercell ID now. Send this on personally.
Yes, I just did.
Hey,
It's like new.
All right, I think I got it. We're live streaming and we are recording. And it just says we're live streaming, we're recording. And so I have everyone on mute because there was a bunch of noise in the background, and I'll unmute you when it's time. So I'd like to make a motion to open the August 5th, 2021 New Paltz Town and Village Joint Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Separate pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion to open the continuation of the public hearing for the Shungum Ridge. Second. And the Plutarch CEA. All in favor?
Aye.
And I would like to open the floor for anyone who has a comment. If anyone in the room has a comment, or if anyone on Zoom has a comment, please raise your hand with this Zoom hand. I'm unable to see you raising your hands. So if you could go down to reactions and raise your hand. Does anyone have any?
Huh. You know,
No? Okay, Kitty, you have a comment?
I do. This is for both of the CEAs. Oh, I need to unmute. Hang on. There you go.
You are muted.
Am I unmuted?
I think there's a delay.
Am I unmuted or I can't tell? Let's see here.
Yeah,
We just give her a thumbs up.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
we can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, dear members of the town board, we write to urge you to designate both the Shungum Ridge and the Plutarch Woods and Wetlands as critical environmental areas. You've reviewed all the scientific data from the ENCB, New Paltz Climate Smart Task Force, and dozens of local residents, all urging you to make these designations. You've had over a year to contact any of the 604 planning boards in New York State that have designated CEAs. Here are excerpts from the July 24th, 2021 Washington Post article, Amid Summer of Fire and Floods, a Moment of Truth for Climate Action. Quote, panicked commuters of Zhengzhou, China could only stand on seats and cling to poles in a desperate attempt to keep their heads above the muddy torrent this week as floodwaters from record-breaking rains inundated the subway system. In Gresham, Oregon, a 61-year-old maker of handcrafted ukuleles slowly died as searing temperatures made an oven out of his lifelong home. In Italy on Friday, a top UN climate official once again pleaded for the world to heed the alarm bells. What more can numbers show us that we cannot already see? What more can statistics say about the flooding, the wildfires, the droughts and hurricanes, and other deadly events? Numbers and statistics are invaluable, but what the world requires now more than anything else is climate action. As forests burn and cities drown, as crops wither and people die, the question looms louder than ever this summer. What will it take for leaders to finally act? Designating these two critical environmental areas will send a message that in New Paltz, our leaders are ready to act. Thank you for your consideration, and we hope you'll vote tonight. And it's signed by Alex Passos, Andrea Thompson, Karen Cathers, Roz Cherry, myself, Cheryl Silver, Dan Stivers, KT Tobin, Stana Weisberg, David Thompson, Michelle Zip, Susan Blickstein, Don Kerr, Miriam Strauss, Susan Scher, Jan Stivers, Norman Galuskin, Susan Stessen-Cohn, Janelle Piotr, Renata Russell, Wendy Rudder, Jess Mullen, Renee Hack, Wendy Toman, Judy Mage, Ron Knapp, Alex Wojcik, Janet Chapman, Marie Young, Aurel Fair, Holly Shader, Mark Varian, Miriam Berg Varian, Amy Kletter, Ron Simon, Jim O'Dowd, and Janet O'Dowd. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other comments? If not, we'll leave it open, and if someone has comments, we'll ask before the end of the meeting. Okay. With that, I would like to move on to the town board portion of the meeting, and I'd like to.
Do you want to do the public hearing for just the Shoreline Ridge CEA? Or no, it's not necessary.
I guess, yeah. Any public comments on the, I'd like to open the public comment for the Shungum Ridge CEA as well. All right, thanks, David.
Second.
Okay, and if there are no comments for that, we'll just leave that open and ask if anyone has any comments before the end of the meeting. And I'd like to start off by saying I'd like to open the, I'd like to make some announcements I was going to make before. This is a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting. We're live streaming as well. For the best recording quality, everyone please speak up and take turns if you're here in person. And if anyone's in the audience, try not to speak. The camera will then focus on you and you'll be highlighted in the video. And everyone will know you're speaking. So try not to interrupt, and patience and cooperation while we try to figure this back out again. I thought we had it down, and now everything's changing. And so as far as other announcements, we are, you can see we're all back here. We're wearing masks. The town of New Paltz is following CDC guidelines. We are in a county of substantial, and that means that if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you need to wear a mask. And so I encourage people to get vaccinated. We have about 54% of the eligible people in the county are vaccinated. We're in the bottom third of the county, according to
Of all counties, you mean?
of New Paltz is.
The town of
The town of New Paltz is in the bottom third in Ulster County. So I thought we were number one, folks. Let's get going. Some towns are at 99%. We're less than 55. So we can do better than that. And with that, I will move on to public input for the town. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, I'll open up public input for the town board portion of the meeting. Like I said, I asked everyone to speak up. Please raise your hand on the Zoom. I can't see everyone's faces here the way it is set up. So raise your hand and we'll call on you, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. And so does anyone have any comments? Steve Preston.
Just curious, can the town or the village mandate that people show proof of vaccination in order to go to public places like New York City is doing apparently?
We probably could, we would have to pass agency order. It would have to be renewed every couple of days. It would be really complicated. We're not sure if we could, and then in the end, we have to enforce it. And got talked to some business owners, and in the end, the enforcement then falls on them to do that. And people are feeling very tense already with the masks and what they've gone through already. A lot of places are doing it voluntarily, and then they're publishing it on like their website or the Yelp is now doing that, and it's that seems to be an effective way to do it. Where no other towns have really done that yet. Cities and towns have very different what we're allowed to do. We're very limited in what we're allowed to do.
I towns have the legal authority. There's some questions about cities' abilities to do it. I'm pretty sure the answer is no. We can look into it, but
yeah,
I don't think we have the authority to do that.
So yeah, no, we're kind of hoping that places are interested in doing it themselves. We towns are pretty limited in what we're allowed to do. So, but I'm hoping that that it catches on. So, anything else? All right, thanks. Anyone else have any comments? If not, we can move on. The first item on the agenda is we're interviewing Kitty Brown, joining us by Zoom for an alternate position on the planning board. And so, Kitty, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hi,
Kitty.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. You want to tell us a little bit about your background and why you want to be on the planning board?
Well, I've been following projects on the planning board for probably 20 years. I helped write some of the zoning, the wetlands law, when I served on the town board. And at a recent meeting, I don't remember if it was the May or June meeting, Chairwoman Adele Ruger recused herself from one of the applications and announced that you have no alternates. So it seemed like that is a position that you might want to fill.
Thank you for stepping up and for your continued dedication to the town. As you pointed out in your resume, you were a 3-term town board member, and have been so involved. And I just want to thank you for that. And I think we're lucky to have your application.
Well, you're very welcome. I would say the thing that I am most proud of is founding the Wallkill Valley Land Trust. And our second project was to acquire what is now the Wallkill Valley Rail Trail. And we had the support of then Supervisor Dave Lent and then Mayor Tom Nyquist. And it took a lot of negotiating with Conrail. But I see on your agenda later tonight, there's a significant amount of improvement that's going to be made to the trail, and that's terrific.
So I have a question. I just so to give us some kind of background and idea of like what you think about different projects. You said that you've been attending a lot of the planning board meetings. And can you describe maybe a few of the projects that you think have been, really good, that you've been in favor of? We want to get people on there that are in favor of projects, and also, maybe skeptical of projects, that we have a whole range of people on there that have different views. And what sort of project have you been a big fan?
Sure. It would actually be fun to serve with Lyle Nolan, who was the last appointment that I made when I was actually on the town board. The projects that I voiced the most support for were the new Gatehouse Trailhead at the Mohawk Preserve. I have attended a lot of meetings about what is now known as the Trans Hudson and project, always in support of doing our best to comply with the current zoning. And there's always the threat of the lawsuit from Trans Hudson hanging over the planning board, but it appears from the most recent stipulation from planning board attorney Rick Golden that that project is going to move forward. I would not be involved in it as an alternate because there are no other recusals. So I think those are probably the two biggest projects that I've been following.
Okay, I was just in general, you know, what the
Neil,
general
the
outlook
audio-
is, you know, there are some people that, yeah.
Neil, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the audio is so spotty. I'm not hearing everything. So I may have to ask you to
I'll
repeat.
try to speak up.
Okay.
That's all I had, really, thanks.
Kitty, I want to also thank you for all your involvement in the town. It's clear how much you care, and I really appreciate it as a town board member. I am interested in hearing from you, where you think our planning board can be operating more effectively. Is there any changes that you would suggest that we might take on as a planning board?
I can't think of any changes. And as an alternate, I probably will not be involved in many of the meetings, although I will be watching. I think more dialogue with the attorney and the engineer would help clear up questions that arise later. I know that in listening to some of the meetings, they've expressed guidance and opinion, which as an audience member, I wish planning board members had followed up on in more depth. But other than that, I think the planning board does a good, thorough job.
Hey, Katie. Thank you for applying, by the way, and for all your service to the town. What would you say you think the most important role of a planning board member is, just philosophically?
Compliance with zoning. I'm a zoning nerd. I love our zoning. And I think it's effective. I think it does what it's meant to do. And when applicants come in with an application, I think of Ulster Savings Bank, even McDonald's, and say, here's our plan, and here's how it complies with zoning, the system really works. And it's when applicants want waivers and variances that things slow down, but they still work. They just take longer.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. If anyone else have any questions, Julie? If not,
No, I think I have heard enough.
so you know, we had another person enter the meeting here, and they would like to make a comment about the CEAs. And so, Amy, if you come to the table and sit down, because it's hard to hear from far away.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's going to be clear, including our interview.
I'm all done with the
Okay, yeah, me too.
interviewing Kitty.
Me too.
Okay,
But I
so-
don't want anyone to have to sit here more than they want to.
Okay.
I'm going to mute and Okay, thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
I just wanted to state really briefly that I'm in support of the CEA for both of the parcels or whatever. And just from what I know, and I'm not nearly as well versed as Kitty, and there's some other people aren't exactly, every in and out of it, but I think anything that we can do to afford more protection on any piece of undeveloped property in our town is really important. And I think the way that I understand it, it's not that it can't be developed, but it's that that these certain things have to be really considered before there can be development on it. Am I understanding that correctly? I think we live in a time when it's really time for everybody who has any sensibility about climate change and about protecting our earth. We need to do whatever we can to make other people conscious of that, of like, if you're gonna go and do something somewhere, that you need to really be very aware and very on top of, and know that you're gonna be watched, right? That know that what you do and how you do it is going to be watched. And I think that that's sort of, that's what I'm looking for. I think that's a tenor that kind of has to happen in the world, that people need to understand that if they're not in that place, that there are enough of us that are in that place that we're gonna make sure that things are taken care of. Does that make any sense? So I know that there's been some issues that like Shongam, yes, Plutarch, no, but I don't really understand why. I mean, to me, it's like if we can do anything to afford more protection and to help people to understand that they have to be so much more aware of what they do and how they do it, it's such a good thing right now. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kitty as an alternate for the planning board.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, my goodness, thank you. I didn't expect it to happen so soon, but thank you very much, and I will do my very best.
Well, thank you for volunteering.
We know you will.
Okay.
Another opening for alternates, and we have openings on other boards, and it's people are really busy, and I appreciate your taking the time to volunteer. And anyone else who wants to, please, we welcome. So thank you, Kitty. Thanks, Kitty. Motion to approve and authorize items 2A through 2F on the consent agenda. And I would like to take this time to thank Toad Bailey, Zachary Mitchell, Tiffany Claude for their service on the New Paltz Police Department. And
Aye.
So next on item 3, I think we've talked about this a little bit. We have received a request for a letter of support for a farmer's choice dispensary. So the town has been asked for a letter of recommendation for a proposed recreational cannabis dispensary on Old Route 299. The draft letter reads as follows. Board meeting, the board expressed its unanimous opinion in favor of locating Farmers Choice Dispensary LLC, a New York State licensed recreational cannabis dispensary within the gateway hamlet of the town of New Paltz, with an address of 1 Old Route 299, New Paltz, New York, 12561. This small business with strong community history and a connection offers great potential. We believe that this well-considered socially responsible project, in addition to its location, will benefit the community, tourism, attractiveness, and future development of the town of New Paltz. And so, if anyone has any input, comments, discussion about that, I welcome them, but that's the kind of a letter I put together. I've been meeting with the.
I can give a little bit more detail.
So these are some people that are local New Paltz residents. They grew up here. They're interested in opening a dispensary at that address. This is like old 299 right off the thruway. It's a dispensary. There would not be any consumption there or anything. People would come, buy it, and then leave, or they would walk there on the trail and then leave. The town of New Paltz, we have the right to pass a law banning all marijuana dispensaries or places like that. I don't think there's an appetite for us to do that in the town of New Paltz. Eventually, they need to apply to the state, and a certain limited number of licenses will be given out, but they want to make sure that the towns are actually in support of the ones that are being given out. And so they've approached me. We've met with them on site, with the building inspector. They have some plans. If they do any construction, they're excited about the new gateway zoning. They're interested in complying with that. They're not interested in any variables. They've talked to the DOT about traffic. They don't really need any exemptions for that. I think it kind of fits in. It's a good location for traffic. Things like that.
And your letter, Neil, it's not necessarily, I read it and I heard you say, but it's not suggesting that we're in favor of what they're building or any kind of like planning board thing that would fall under the planning board. This is just toward their license.
Towards their license.
It's like when we would do a letter of support for a grant.
For grants.
It's kind of the same thing now.
We support this. We think it's a good idea. We're not opposed to it. And we're not, when the state hands out these licenses, they're not going to be surprised by the town board suddenly saying, we're not in favor of that.
Okay, thank you very much for the explanation.
That being said, with this as a new emerging industry in New York State, I think it would be really beneficial for our community to not only have this from a tax revenue standpoint, but there are jobs that are associated with this as well. And the way the piece of legislation was written at the state level, I think it rights a number of wrongs that historically we've seen from very poor marijuana legislation in the past, and specifically arrest records, and also who the state do these licenses out as they also acknowledge some of those past errors too. So I think it's really exciting that we could potentially have that in New Paltz. Just yesterday, it was announced that another marijuana facility is looking at coming into Woolworthing as well. And I really think there's a good chance that Ulster County at large, and I'd love it if New Paltz to be a part of it, can really play a big role in kind of this emerging industry.
Is there a limit, Dan, from your knowledge about how many licenses can exist in the town of New Paltz?
So I don't know the specifics of the law, but I know that the state is creating a new office of cannabis management, I believe is what it's called. And I know that they are selecting these licenses, also keeping in mind the demographics of the communities as well, and who the people are who are applying for those licenses. I think it would be highly, highly unlikely that New Paltz would get two, and I think it's probably unlikely that Ulster County would get more than one. I think that what they were looking to do is roughly one per county, is my understanding of it.
That's kind of what I've heard as well, and so if there's going to be one, I would like to hear. So, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Second.
Oh, sorry. Dan, I need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, second.
So my motion authorizes the supervisor to send a letter of support on the town's behalf.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So next item is approval of bids for the highway PD auction. Motion to accept the bids from Absolute Auctions for a total of $61,148. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approval of the bid for the PD to move for the police department to hire movers for 59 North Putt. Motion to accept the bids from lowest conforming bid from Always Moving and Storage in the amount of $7,650.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the bid to move the police department computers to 59 North Putt. A motion to CS text bid, including the attached equipment purchase to set up the police IT at 59 North Club.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And for Henry W. Motion to, resolution has been posted on the town's website. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are way ahead of schedule, folks.
Because we don't respond to public comments. I just wanted to quickly talk about the 2 public hearings that we have, because we received a number of letters from members of the public, and obviously we've had some comments here today. And I think that people have conflated that we are opposed to CEAs or some elements of it, and they're confused by how we got here. And I just think it's kind of important to relook at this. I mean, obviously we had these conversations pre-COVID. COVID literally required us to stop it because we couldn't also have a public hearing for a significant period of time. But I think it's important to note that when we had our groups come forward that talked about the importance of doing CEAs, that what the town board had kind of said, especially based on the fact that we also had our attorney and the planning board and other outside individuals who had come kind of having different interpretations and opinions on what this looked like, that we felt comfortable moving forward with the Shongum Ridge, and that we would revisit the Plutarch CEA and frankly potentially others as well after we had given some time to kind of make people comfortable with that process and see how it works within our municipality as opposed to other municipalities where it's happened. And that was the directive that we gave. Tremendous volunteers, I'm not knocking them for that. They subsequently decided to push for 2 instead of 1, which then created additional conversation on it, which has kind of led us to where we are today. Had we kind of initially gone with what the first read of the board was, at this point, I think it's fair to say we would have already adopted the CEA probably a while ago at this rate as well. And so I just want to say, just speaking for myself, that I don't think there's a member of our board who's opposed to CEAs or this concept. I think what we're looking to do is kind of move forward on one, see how that plays out, and continue to do that in a responsible fashion, knowing that this isn't something we want to hold open for 5 or 6 years, but at least give it a number of months to see how it plays out, and then kind of revisit this concept as well too. And I just think it's important to state that, just kind of having seen some of the comments we've gotten, that's at least my interpretation of how this has gone. Others can disagree on the board with me, but that's my take, and that's my recollection of the conversation.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I'll just add, if I may, that, since, I want to just say for the record that, I remain steadfastly interested into designating the 2 CEAs. So I believe I'm an outlier in this, but I do think that there is, strong, I have strong opinions about it, that it would be a positive thing. And I think I don't need to restate my opinion because it's on the record already. But I just wanted to say that I do appear to be an outlier. I'm interested in designating 2 CEAs. I think that there's value in doing that. Now, originally the effort was to look at possibly 6, and I feel like 2 is reasonable. And I think the choice of the Plutarch Woods and Wetlands is an excellent choice. And, there could be opportunities by doing it now that we could seize in terms of helping any developers develop in a way that's environmentally friendly. So.
Yeah. Are you complete, Julie?
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, from my own, as liaison to the planning board, I was part of an effort to build consensus among the recommendation of the ENCD. Yes, they have speakers they brought in, and other planning board chairs or other municipalities that they brought in. We met with the planning board on at least 2 occasions, including the attorney, our planning board attorney, an engineer, and the planning board, the attorney and engineer, really asked for us to move more slowly on this. In fact, they were hesitant to even suggest that we need any of these, because it's already part of our secret process, and do is change our code. But be that as it may, they all came, a great majority of our planning one, if we were intent on approving any, and that we go a little more slowly on allowing the planning board to absorb what this means to the planning process. And so I really would like to move with the planning board's suggestion and the attorney and engineer suggestion. It doesn't seem to me that there is a consensus understanding of how these will play out in the planning process and how they should play out in the planning process. And this is the folks who are going to be implementing that. So I'd like to see them do that effectively. And I'm in favor of all 5 of these happening, just not yet. And I'm sorry that it feels slow to folks, but I feel like we owe it to the planning board to allow them to implement this correctly and understand its implications in real time, and then move expeditiously toward adding other areas that we want to afford additional protection and additional awareness.
I mean, I'm sorry it feels slow, but I mean, we could have had the ridge done 6 months ago. I mean, we could have had the ridge done a year ago. Right now, one of the reasons the public hearings are still open is because we're waiting for someone to do the next step, right? So someone needs to write up the resolutions and the seeker and everything else that needs to be done. And at some point, if that isn't done by someone who's interested in doing this, neither one's going to get done, right? So this is the job of the people that want this to get done, either like the liaison or the advocates for it. So it needs to be done. My hands are full, right? And this is one of the things that we've said, that why we want to start with one. If between everything else that's going on with the reform and reinvention, I don't know what, $20 million worth of projects that are going on between the firehouse, the police station, Henry W., Water District 5. I mean, it's crazy busy here, and someone who really wants this has to do the next step. So that's also what's holding it up. I know everyone says, oh, well, it's easy, you just need to do X, Y, Z. I'm like, great, do it. I'm in favor of this, but my plate is full. And so that's on the other
thing. Clear, we are not in a position to take a vote on something because we have nothing to vote on.
We need a resolution. We need all of the paperwork that has to be voted on, right? So someone has to get that to us. And otherwise, like, it's going to die its own death. So I encourage people that, yeah.
I believe Ingrid has offered a resolution, and she said that we need to have it passed by our attorney. So she has done that work, and so we just need to have the, it seems like maybe a vote to have it go to the attorney. That's what, because I'm in touch with Ingrid, and that's what, my understanding was. So
we're not going to have him do both. Right, if we could take the vote right now and have them do the ridge.
I have no problem with that, actually.
I don't want to have our attorney review both things when I do not see both of them having, we could have a discussion as a board to do that. But I don't know if, I can go back and look through my emails again. If as a liaison, if you want to take the lead on that, that's great. Or if someone on the ENCB wants to do that and lay it all out, That's great. I don't have it handy, and I know that it was not like totally handed to us. It was like, oh, well, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z. I don't have the time to do X, Y, and Z.
It had been mine, and I apologize, I was wrong. I thought, Julie, you were putting those materials together, but if we're waiting on that at this point, it sounds like that's not the case. I would be happy to take a vote to refer to Joe, the Shongum Ridge CEA, since it sounds like we have overwhelming consensus on that and have for a considerable period of time.
Yeah, I would second that. If doing is voting to ask Joe to prepare a resolution to
Yeah.
approve the Shongum Ridge CPA and other materials and secret approvals and things like that we need to pass that, I second that motion.
Okay.
Oh, I wanted to just say, Alex is texting me saying that she's trying to unmute and she can't, and she, I think, would like to say something.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Hi. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I've been trying to unmute. My connection is not very good. I'm upstate and a little rural area. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you very much. I've been listening to everybody, and I would very much support starting with 1. I think I agree with 3 of the members, but I also very much love that Julie has the support for more, and I can understand that as well. And knowing who she is, and I think that starting with 1 is wise. I think both workload and concept, and then looking at how it affects the community, looking at how everybody reacts to it, how it affects not only land, but also people's sort of opinion, and looking at that area being protected. And then once that starts to work well for us, then continuing with the rest of it. I think that's a wise working model, and that's what I support.
Thank you, Alex. And I think we have a motion in a second. Verbally, I've heard, I think, at least 4 of us in favor of that. So I'm just going to call the question for all those in favor of asking Joe to draft up the necessary paperwork for the Shongum Ridge CEA.
All right.
Right.
And I'm going to abstain.
Just because it's important for the minutes, you have to provide a rationale for abstaining.
Do you mean, I'm not sure if I'm hearing you. Are you saying verbally?
To abstain, Robert's Rules of Order, you have to provide a reason for abstention, and the abstention has to fall within its a number of categories. It's conflict, or I'm not sure what. I just wanted to be clear about that.
Like if you own property there,
Right, no.
you could say you're abstaining. Like if you felt there was a conflict, like if you were.
Well, you would know better than I do. You can just let me know if this is sufficient. So I'm abstaining because I'm in favor of the other resolution. Sorry, there isn't obviously there's not another resolution, but I'm in favor of the other solution to this question.
So just to be technical, then I think what you would say is you're not in favor of this one, you would vote no, but that's your choice of how you want to vote.
You know what,
Technically,
Dan?
it's not.
I'm fine with voting no as well. I've heard people use abstentions for, on this board with different purposes. And so if the appropriate thing is to vote no, because I am in favor of the other one, that's fine too. I'm happy with voting no.
The motion passes
I should just restate that I do own land in the Shongum Ridge zone, and that my property is under a conservation easement with the Mohawk Preserve, and that control far higher restrictions on what I can do than anything that's coming here. So I vote yes, but if it's necessary for me to abstain because I do own land or there's some perceived conflict of interest by my colleagues, I'm happy to abstain too, but I'm in favor of protecting the ridge.
All right, so motion carries. Awesome.
Great. So we got 12 minutes, and why don't we set up the, I guess there's nothing to adjourn. The village board's going to be joining us in a few minutes. We're going to have Donna Lutz and Travis Rask join us as well. They're here.
Neil, I have
Yeah,
something.
8 o'clock.
So just take a break.
Yeah, do you guys have? Do you guys have
Neil,
computers?
Could
Or
I,
just a
could I
presentation?
just ask a question?
Great, if it was, oh, sorry, Julie, go ahead.
It's okay. I was wondering about whether we're holding open. So can we close the public hearings then? I think we should do that officially, right?
I don't
I
know.
don't think we would need to do that. I'd rather just keep it open so we're not screwing anything up and have to reopen them.
Yeah, I don't know if we can open them, or I don't know that. We'll ask Joe then.
Well, yeah.
But we'll just leave them open now.
Okay, and so are we going to wait then? Because, in terms of procedure, are we waiting then to declare lead, initiate seeker and declare lead agency? Are we going to wait on that, or should we do that tonight?
I think we would wait for Joe
That's
to.
what we need Joe
Yeah.
to provide the documents for us to be able to do that. That's what we've been waiting for.
Okay, so I'll make sure that between the two of us, you receive Ingrid's draft again that has the resolution,
Sure.
and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Great. All right, we got a couple minutes. Break. I'm gonna leave everything just running, just because if I stop it, it's gonna, who knows what's gonna happen with the live stream.
Possible to read the room?
Wait, we need another planning board alternate.
There's a third seat in the audience, it would be perfect.
Hey guys, I can have some back.
How crowded was the fair?
It's insane.
It was nuts today,
Yeah,
all
like
day.
Libertyville, well, like, I timed it okay in terms of dropping them off, but, and then they decided to stay later, so I'm like, I'll pick you up after the meeting, but on my way out, Libertyville was full all day.
All afternoon, it was like getting there at 3 o'clock, because people were just.
We're gonna have to be honest, my daughter for her birthday for that tomorrow. That's crazy.
Is tonight Carlo night or something like that?
I don't know.
I thought last night.
Tuesday.
Tonight's truckful night, so we're
Truckful?
right now in the tri-state area.
Okay, no, that's it.
Wait, how would I do it? It's like, they truck to a truck. People don't really like.
No, truck
Truck pull.
Truck.
They don't go to the-
It's an event.
Yeah, it's an event.
Yeah, I think people really missed the fair last year.
We did. My daughter.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's awesome.
That's her birthday party. For my birthday party, she wants to bring about 3 friends to the
Oh,
party.
that sounds fun. So that's involved.
Yeah.
It's fun.
A little worried with the numbers going up, but. So we'll-
I went. Oh, I did my last. Yeah, I'm not vaccinated.
Very, very surprising. So,
I mean, the computer on saying. What is it? You're not actually-
numbers going up. It's not,
Yeah, zero can.
I can't wait till my daughter can get vaccinated.
Chris, your project's going pretty well this summer. You guys having a good summer?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of stuff done. Equipment's becoming a bigger issue, we're chipping away at it.
I was driving up in Vermont, and they had all this like 4.5 inches of rain, part of Vermont.
Yeah,
Their roads are
it didn't affect us, but it pushed everything so far back, you know, schedule wise.
Just the rain.
Yeah, just the rain. Things dried up pretty quick, but, you know, it's raining everywhere, so
Yeah.
it pushes this crew back a week, pushes that crew back.
How are things?
We got childcare down, it's all cleaned up.
Oh, that's done.
That's done.
I moved away. It's not even there.
No, made it down, that's for next week.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never
Made
even
a
seen.
pretty good neighbors, and resource recovery, so we should be way on the budget.
That's awesome.
Knock on wood.
Those are pretty good things to come up with.
That design is so preposterous. You know, I thought what was funny is I've seen that attorney, present so many times. And I've never heard his voice shake until today.
What project were they,
The pit,
it was not a good plan, huh?
it's a bad plan, but they also have not been transparent with us in terms of the various property restrictions in the pit that are, you know, things that, you know, the village agreed to in 1968. No one has ever forfeited, you know, these, you know, no one has extinguished any of these restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
They're effectively village-owned assets. And that the pit has to be developed certainly.
And you didn't know about that until we finally had discovery of that now.
Well, I have been asking for information. Terrence had been nudging me to do research, and so I effectively did my own title search and just looked at every single deed from 1968 until present.
And then they finally got to like, oh, yeah.
And then I found it and then I wrote it up. And then the attorney's like, wow, I've never seen this before. And I'm like, I thought you represent this client.
Wow.
And then the guy from AMC Networks was there. I was like, we should do your next TV show. Well,
Maybe we can finally get that Impulse reality show, but then, it's time.
it would make a good TV show. Police witnessed the murder.
Oh, yeah.
No protection from the federal government.
I just found out he went to law school. He did. He's 3 semesters short of a 1 degree.
Oh my goodness.
And where are you all in the apartments project?
With New Paltz Apartments?
Yeah.
We haven't done anything from our table as far as annexation.
Yeah, they're still trying to,
Well, secret is
Oh,
huge.
no, they're going, they're
they
doing.
have to do the secret before we can do the annexation.
They just did the scope, and who knows how long it's gonna, actually, they haven't even finalized the scope yet, it's probably next meeting. And who knows how long it's gonna take to.
They're doing that in the village.
What's that?
They're doing that at the village planning board.
Yeah. Which is so weird since they have no jurisdiction over it yet.
And the town ultimately has to approve the annexation based on what the village is doing.
Yeah, you both have to, both boards have to approve it, or it gets weird.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that one board says yes, the other says no, just so we can watch what happens next. And, you know, I like something interesting to write about. I want my town board meetings to be like West Wing episodes,
Yeah, you look like you're going for everything great.
brinksmanship.
Hey, that's my undercover nuclear companies on.
Yeah.
Did the grass come in really nice this year?
Yeah,
There, they look beautiful.
yeah, needs a little work. Mark Ramsey called me the other day, or actually today. He's gonna go fill a couple potholes up there and wasn't too happy with my mower selection, so he's helping me find the correct.
Mower for soccer field.
Yeah, so.
Maybe you'll have a special soccer field mower up there.
Yeah, I'm sure he's took you on it.
You know, the run we have
Yeah.
it, you know.
What was he like? It's too heavy machinery, it's like running the field?
It's too small. So we do 62 inches where we should be doing 8 feet.
That's a little bit great.
I gotta deal with the school that they'll bring theirs up and have to 16 feet at a time.
Huh?
But it's, you know, it comes a point where you do it this time, do it that time.
Yeah.
You use up all your chips, so Mark said, find you something with this connection, so but go look, I think I would put it to the board. But it came in nice, I think.
Nice, I gotta take a look.
They should be playing on it in the fall.
So we get sports in the fall.
Is that,
So we get sports in the fall.
so just,
We'll have the ball either way. won't it?
hey, you didn't want to, so play ball virtual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't believe you're doing this. I know.
I can kind of believe it.
I can't do it. I thought that I didn't think it would happen.
I thought we had like 2 months.
Yeah, I was figuring when I could move around.
I was totally ready for them saying indoor dining was bad, but like, I was. thinking,
Yeah, you guys wanna come up and join us at the table?
Yeah.
We, Michelle,
Made a long walk.
Yeah.
so I think you guys have forum now as well. If you wanna open, Michelle is, joining with Zoom.
Oh,
So, we're still recording, we're live streaming, and, it's 8 o'clock, the town board first of the meeting is over, and so I'd like to welcome, let's make sure I get Travis Harass and Donna Lutz from the Ulster County Commission on Reappointment. And so you guys have coming here to discuss this with us, explain what's happening, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. Yeah, like you said, my name's Travis Rask. I'm actually a resident of the city of Kingston. And
Donna Lutz, and I'm a resident of the town of Marlborough, last 40 years.
we're one of our 7 commissioners on the reapportionment commission for Ulster County. Obviously, that's for the legislative districts. So we just wanted to come by, we just want to introduce ourselves, introduce kind of the process of what we're going through, and just see if you guys had any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. Just to kind of get started with the reapportionment commission is with the legislative districts, there are still going to be legislative. Based on the last census in 2010, there was about a population of about 185,000. That needs to be broken up into about 8,000 constituents per district. So our here is to not gerrymander, if keep the lines as straight as possible, as even as they possibly can, especially with those numbers. Especially if they do stay the same. I imagine that this new census with people moving up and things like that, those numbers might be a little bit bigger. But we can't really tell until that census data comes out, which is probably not going to happen until beginning of September. So while we're waiting for that data, like we said, we want to come by, introduce ourselves, say hello, and again, see if you guys have questions. Donna, anything else you want to add? I know, sorry, I went right into it.
No, I think the most important thing is explaining how it's working with 182,000 something in the last census. It looks like it's going to be about the same because people are. They had said originally, it's a little bit lower. Maybe it's going to be lower. Where I am, we're building houses left and right, and I have heard in the town of Lloyd, building permits are sky high. Are they moving from one area in the county to another? We don't know that. So.
And were they here in April? And did they say that this was their residence?
Right.
And I think we may not know for another 10 years.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
So my kind of in general, like I think we've been very lucky in New Paltz that It's about 8,000 per district. We have about 14,000. We've been lucky enough that they kind of follow the town and village lines. And I'm wondering, is that something that you're trying to do?
So obviously there are more towns than there are districts, for legislative districts. We're keeping in mind, especially upper west side of the county, things like that. So a lot of those districts are, a lot of towns are very small, so therefore there's multiple towns, multiple districts. But yes, especially with you guys in New Paltz, with your population size, I plan on, trying to just keep that together. And even within the townships, I mean, take everything into consideration when it comes to that, not try to split your lines too much, especially when it comes to doing it. Your our lines, you guys have to actually work out different. So, especially for like your counter elections, I believe, for your.
Our municipality, we don't have board systems, so we actually shouldn't be affected by.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I think it would just be the city of Kingston.
okay.
No, just a quick question for you, a little wonky, but I'm curious about it. Is there any changes within the Voting Rights Act that'll impact how the census is redone this year?
None that were currently aware of. I don't know if that's the Voting Rights Act as all, but I know in the first census about 10 years ago, they had trouble taking into account of where those people in the 2 or the 3 prisons that we just have in our county, were they going to be considered residents of where their prison actually is, or where their actual residency is. This census is going to be by where their residency was before they had gone in. That's where they actually reside during the term. Yeah, so that would, and that's provided to us by the Senate, as well as the Assembly. So we have reached out to them, and we've reached out as a commission, not necessarily us in particular, as a commission, we've reached out to the 2 people in charge of that from the Assembly as well as the Senate to get those, make sure that data is accurate, make sure that when we get our numbers, we don't have to mess around with it too much. But that seems to be our biggest challenge at the moment. But we're on top. I feel confident that we'll be able to get good numbers throughout with that process.
And then just one other quick question I had too is, my understanding is that your commission is specifically for county legislative seats. Obviously, the federal state lines are done at the state level. That's correct. In this case, with how the law currently is, petitions would start for the new legislative districts would be March of 2023.
Right.
Yeah. So do you mind just kind of like telling us a backwards calendar, which I know it might be up in the air because the numbers aren't out yet, but where do you think you'll be in the process where those lines will be approved and then the ability for potential candidates to then be able to petition around?
Well, it's funny you say that. We were expecting the numbers originally to be out by March, April, in a normal year, and we kind of hoped that we'd be done by this time. Actually, right now, in July, early August. So if we do get those numbers, in the September range, I mean, we're definitely going to try to probably beat the new year with those numbers. So we can get approved by the legislature as well. And if they have any questions, comments, concerns, they can give us feedback and we can go from there. But yes, we're not trying to draw this process out by any. We want this to be quick, easy, concise, as clear as it can be.
And I think for us, this year, it will be easier for us because we don't have to consolidate into 23 districts like.
Sure, that's right. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys were aware, but the previous census before that, it was all town-based, based for the legislature. Whereas the previous census 10 years ago, when they redid this, they had to redo all the lines down to 23 districts, whereas at least with us, like Donna said, we don't have to actually do that. So that's a huge help. Huge help. Thank you.
So the village board had submitted to the state level commission, a memo of just some things to consider. I don't know if it would be helpful to share with you.
Please.
I know it's a totally different line type situation, but having, all been on the front lines of emergency response type stuff, we really were thinking about, how shared services work, drinking water aqueducts, roadways, stuff like that, geographic features,
School districts,
and other connectors that might impact how we share services and do mutual aid and whatnot. So,
Yeah, I'm happy you said that actually, 'cause we already have. Fire districts,
Thank you.
as well, in the area, but to put it in the schools perspective, that's something we can sort of take a, closer eye into.
I think another piece that we added was open space. So what's curious about New Paltz and this region, right, is we have Minnewaska State Park and the Mohawk Preserve, like we have lots of open space that's, different representatives from Albany represent different chunks of these things, like.
Which is very true, and it's something that said that we're definitely considering, especially kind of what I mentioned with the Upper West Side, especially in our county where it's very small districts, especially even with voting rights, because I mean obviously it's still the voting population as well. So that's really what it comes down to. So if you guys are if you have registered voters in those areas, they will be counted, and that's
The conversation that we had, what we think is curious about the way various voting districts are created, it seems like it's primarily determined by political parties and who can raise money where, and it's not thought about all the things that we just listed and that you added to that list. It's kind of like everything except.
So I was just going to say that's exactly what we're trying to do is not have party affiliation as as much as we can. I mean obviously there's going to be something, but we're not going to. Demographics, age groups, things of that nature, so that we can break down the program that we decided to purchase as well. So that's going to be, of course, legal age below above 18, all. Yeah, please.
And after we're done with our districting, it does go to the Board of Elections, and that's when they start with election districts. So in fact, we don't have a lot to do with the districts.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, as much as it's, what Don and I were kind of discussing a little bit earlier today, just getting ready for tonight, a lot of it is math based. I mean, the variances are not very great. I think it's less than 5%, if that number, I don't have it off the top of my head, but or even 10, give or take. But 10% is not a huge population, especially where our population isn't that great, when you look at it from that point of view. So it's really going to be, like I said, it's going to come down to the math and make sure that everything is. And it seems like our group has definitely been in agreement where we're not trying to do a square with a nice couple lines off to the right or off to the left based on political party affiliation or anything like that. We definitely want to keep it as even clear as possible.
Okay, well, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions, please.
Thank you for coming.
We have a website.
Thank you so much.
Sure. We have our own website. It is reapportionment at Ulster.NY. Yeah, that.
Yes.
And Flawn Tantillo is our liaison, but we definitely get the questions, send us anything. We have the website also, and we really just put it all together.
Yeah, the website has a frequently asked questions page as well, so if you do have questions, please feel free, like I said, to ask them so that we can answer them and hope to build that page out so others decide what they go on and have that question answered as well. Great.
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you.
And have a great rest of your meeting as well.
Well, we're done with the town board portion. Do you guys have any village board agenda items? Well, make a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? All right.
Aye.
All right. I will,